Intuition is an incredibly powerful tool, and it's even more powerful for INFJs. When we're really able to dive deep into our intuition, it can be life changing for us. It's absolutely everything that we need to make the decisions that we're struggling with, and for us to find that happiness that we really long for. INFJs are more likely to ignore our intuition and instead rely on logic and rationality. But this leaves us open to making some of the worst decisions possible. We often make bad decisions when we avoid what our intuition is telling us. We ignore that inner voice. We rely so much on reason and feeling or other people's advice that our intuition really just seems to disappear. It's easy for us to get stuck in what feels safe rather than challenging ourselves with growth opportunities. But we have so much more potential as INFJs if we're just willing to listen, if we're willing to lean into that small voice and be vulnerable. How can you tap into your intuition instead? How can you tune into that inner guide and use that tool to help you in your everyday life? That's what we're here to talk about. First of all, avoidance is a very real thing. I have a feeling that you've been there, just like I have. You know, when you're feeling really stuck about a big decision, when your anxiety is so high and your mind is so focused on avoiding what's right in front of you, you really can't even handle it. I'm not talking about avoidance in general, but instead avoidance as a defense mechanism for anxiety and fear. It's almost like you're running away from what that voice is telling you that you should be doing. I don't know about you, but I avoid things all the time. It's almost like I plan to avoid things. I schedule to avoid things. And it's not just good things that I'm avoiding doing. Most of the time, it's the really challenging things that I avoid doing. The emails from my boss, a difficult conversation with my friend or my significant other, especially when I get into arguments with people that I love. Also, diet change that I really need to make. What do they all have in common? Well, they're all really uncomfortable decisions and discussions that I have to make that I just don't want to do. I don't want to be involved in them. It's really the fear of what might happen or the fear of what probably will happen that keeps me from diving into them. And sometimes the avoidance becomes a lot more than just a defense mechanism, and it becomes more like an existential crisis in disguise. It seems to me like I'm always going through some kind of existential crisis. They're just always present in my life. I always have one thing going on or two or three in the back burner just in case I need them later. There's always something that's filling me with like this complete and total dread that just feels awful. There's something that's bigger than me that I can't control, but for some reason I still feel the need to worry about it, so much so that it starts to feel like it's controlling my life. And all of that worry, though, is just like a distraction from what I really should be worrying about or focusing on. And I know it kind of sounds crazy, but if you really consider how much time you spend focusing on avoiding what you're afraid of, just because our mind believes that it will hurt us or make things worse, it's a significant amount of time. It's almost like I'd rather live with this sense of dread about everything bad that could happen rather than actually face the thing that I'm afraid of and move on beyond it. We know exactly what we need to do as INFJs. We have this special intuition, this inner guide that's telling us exactly what to do if we'll just listen to it. Another distraction technique is this work and perfectionism or addiction and self-destruction. I kind of have a combination of both of them, actually. I really like to work a lot, especially on the things that I'm passionate about. I love writing and I want it to be perfect. So when I'm avoiding something, then I get stuck in this perfectionism cycle that's like, okay, I'm kind of addicted to work, so I want to work 24/7, but then I also want it to be perfect before I share it with anybody. So I feel like if I could just spend enough time working on it, it'll be perfect, right? And then the other side is the addiction and self-destruction cycle. For me, my addictions are pretty low key. It's more like coffee and chocolate, sugar, which are all still really bad addictions. But thankfully, I don't have any drug or alcohol addictions, which can be terribly self destructive. But it doesn't just have to be drugs or alcohol or food. You could be addicted to work, which I might even be in that category of being addicted to work. You could be addicted to exercise or even sex. Anything that makes you feel good that you're overindulging in is something that you could be addicted to. And like I said, if you're like me, it's possible that you could be in this perfectionism, addiction, work, self destruction pattern, which can feel really consuming and difficult to get out of. If we don't recognize these patterns, the messages in our minds are louder and more persistent. And this leads us into this spiral of shame, this feeling like you don't have any hope because you can't get out of this cycle, or you feel like you can't get out of the cycle. So then the next thing that happens is that you feel like you want to burn down your entire life. I've been there a few times. Let me know if this sounds familiar to you. You feel like you've messed up so many things in your life, in your job, with your friends, with your family, that you just want to leave. You don't want to try to fix it. You just want to sell everything that you have and buy a plane ticket to somewhere else, start over in a new place. I've done it. I've done it 4 or 5 times now in my life. It's like you get to the point where you just can't handle the way that things are. And so you get this idea in your head that somewhere else would be 1,000 times better. And so you focus on this idea that moving is the answer. And you put all of your work and all of your money and all of your effort into moving because that's the only possible answer. And maybe you even feel excited about it for a while. Like, this new place is full of all these possibilities. You can move somewhere that nobody even knows that you existed. And you could just start fresh. But of course, you're also filled with this incredible sense of terror because you really don't like new things. And going to the grocery store is even harder than before because you don't even know where it is, and you don't have the same grocery store in this new place that you did at the old place, so you're not even 100% sure what it's called. I've moved so many times and I've dealt with this so many times. I grew up in Wichita, Kansas. We went to a place called Dillon's Marketplace. Then I moved to Branson, Missouri, and the grocery store was called Country Mart. In Birmingham, England, it was called Tesco. In Charlotte, North Carolina, it was called Harris Teeter. In Kansas City, the best one was Price Chopper. And now where I live in Boston, the one that I go to is called Stop and Shop. I've been there. I've lived through this terrible cycle. And it really stinks. It's expensive, for one. And it's difficult to move your whole life, especially if you're moving across the country or halfway across the country. And it really stinks to be in this helpless feeling for so long. It took me way too long to realize that I had everything that I needed to begin with. I didn't need to move. I didn't need to get stuck in these work, self-destructive perfectionism patterns. We already have a superpower as INFJs. We have this amazing function called Introverted Intuition. That means that things just come to us. We just know things. We don't know how we know them, but we do know them. Now, when you combine it with our second function, which is extroverted feeling, we just know things about other people. We like focusing on other people because of our extroverted feeling. It's natural for us. And it doesn't cause us any uncomfortableness or anxiety because we're not focused on fixing ourselves. We're focused on fixing somebody else. It's a lot more difficult for us to focus our intuition on ourselves. It takes some work and some practice. It takes tapping into some of our lesser used functions and being present. being aware of ourselves enough to even know what's going on. Personal growth is really difficult and uncomfortable, especially for us as INFJs. We know that growing causes us to be uncomfortable, so a lot of times we avoid it. We can see the pain coming and we can feel the fear, so we go the other way. But the thing is that avoidance only causes us more pain. We just have to deal with the fear for longer. We have to deal with the uncomfortableness for longer. And when the discomfort grows, the fear grows. And for the INFJ who loves to float through life without noticing how we're feeling, like me, it can hit you like a ton of bricks when you least expect it. And then what? Well, then you end up with burnout. And you end up lying on the couch for months on end, feeling completely hopeless. And then eventually you have to confront what you were afraid of anyway, right? So how do you break the pattern? How do we pay attention enough to ourselves to hear what our intuition is trying to tell us? For INFJs, we have 3 totally different worlds that we live in. The first one is the rational world of society. This is your day-to-day life, the job that you probably hate, your family, your friends that you may or may not get along with most of the time. This is where you have to be present, where for most people, they're rational, logical. They want things to be explainable, right? It's really difficult for us to live in this world. We don't like it here. The second world is the minds of other people. Because of our introverted intuition and our extroverted feeling, we love being able to help other people. We love diving into their emotions and counseling them, providing the best possible advice that we can. We love making an impact on other people and helping them. So then the third world that we live in is our own mind. Now, sometimes as an INFJ, your own mind is the scariest place to be, but sometimes it's the best place. I mean, I love my imagination. I love to be in this little world that I've created in my mind that's like perfect. It has all of the things that I want, all the things that I'm not sure that I can have in this regular, real world. So when I'm alone, I spend the majority of my time there. It's also almost like a TV show or a movie where it's an escape. I don't have to worry about all the things that I'm worrying about. I don't have to focus on work. I don't have to focus. I don't have to be present. I can just be there without any of the worries. But when I'm there, I can't be here, right? If I'm in this fictitious world in my imagination, then I can't be here. I'm ignoring all of the things that my mind and my body are trying to tell me. Because I like to live in this imaginary world most of the time, when I'm not there, my head can be this incredibly rough place to be. It seems like I always have an existential crisis on the front burner and a couple on the back burner, right? But I don't really know what I'm feeling. And all I can identify is this horrible, overwhelmed feeling. I can't name each one of my feelings, especially if there's something big going on in my life. Something like, I don't know, a global pandemic, or even if it's just that I need a new job or I need to move to a new apartment, or, something on my car needs to be fixed. I can't name the things that I'm feeling. All I know is that I'm feeling something that's really overwhelming. And you see, we've been taught by the world that we should live in the rational and logical world. But as INFJs, we just don't do that, especially when it comes to our feelings and emotions. We're just not always rational. We can be, but we don't really like to be. Our intuition, it doesn't make sense a lot of the time. And sometimes we get these powerful feelings about something or someone and we don't know why, but we just know that it's true. And sometimes we just know that we have to do something, even if it doesn't seem rational when we get that feeling. We just know that we have to do it. The answer to this situation is that we really need to tap into our power source, which is our intuition. We need to take the time and the space to get to know our intuition, to let it guide us, not only about other people, which is so natural for us, but also about ourselves, about our own problems, about the crises that are going on in our lives, and about the direction that we need to go. You already have the answer. It's built into your personality. You just need to figure out how to listen to it, which can be really difficult sometimes. I say all of this because I really want to help you to be able to tune into your intuition. It's something that I've been working on, and I figured out how to do it really, really well. And I want to be able to help you do the same thing. So I've put together this challenge that's called the Tune Into Your Intuition Challenge. It's a 30-day challenge that's designed to help you to tune into that inner guide and really listen to everything that it's telling you, to help you find direction in your life, to help you make good decisions with confidence, and to help you tap into that inner wisdom, not just about other people, but about yourself as well. It's time for you to focus on yourself and to make some small but very powerful shifts that you really need to live your best life. Now, I know that these days we're all so busy and we don't have time to do a lot of work, and you don't have an hour or two a day to pour into yourself. That's totally fine. For this challenge, it's going to be a 30-day challenge, but it's very easy and simple things that will only take 5 to 10 minutes max of your day. And if you follow the simple steps, you'll get exactly what you need to really tune into your intuition. You'll also get the best results if you stick to the plan, but you can always take the challenge as you want to. If you need to spend an extra day here or there, or if you miss a day, you can always pick up where you left off. I know as INFJs, we like to do things by ourselves. I get that 100%, and you can totally do this challenge alone. But it's also a good idea to be able to connect with other INFJs if you have that opportunity. There really is nothing that is as powerful as hearing another INFJ say, "Oh my gosh, I do the same thing. I think the same way. I had that same experience." It's really completely amazing. I've put this challenge into my new premium INFJ Post newsletter, which you can sign up for right now. And if you sign up now before June 1st of 2021, it's just $5 a month. Along with this challenge, you'll also get access to some really, really amazing content. There are courses for INFJs. Right now, there's one about self-love, there's one about finding your purpose in life, and there's one about how to start a blog. There will be another digital course every single quarter. The next one that's coming up will start in October. That will be called the INFJ Writer. And it's all about learning how to write, how to get past your fears, how to figure out how to put your thoughts onto paper, and then get past your fear of sharing it with other people. There are also exclusive blog posts as a part of the INFJ Post newsletter. You have access to every single book that I have ever written, which is more than 11 books right now. There's a book club, so we're going to start reading books every month or 2 months. There'll be a new book in there. You'll also get early access to blog posts from my INFJ Woman blog, and early access to episodes of the Quiet Ones podcast. And one of the things that I'm the most excited about is that there's a forum inside of the INFJ Post. I know that as INFJs, it's really, really difficult for us to make friends. And one of the things that that you guys ask me about the most is, how do I make friends? Where do I find friends? So I've really, really struggled with this. It's been something that's been on my heart for a while because I want to help you make friends. I want to provide that opportunity for you. I know it's been a huge struggle for me too, and I found some amazing friends just through my INFJ Woman Instagram account. So I want to give you guys that same opportunity. So I've included a forum in the INFJ Post newsletter website. So that will give you an opportunity to connect with other people who are INFJs who can help you, and you can share your experiences, because like I said, it's an amazing thing to hear an INFJ say, I feel the exact same way, I've done the exact same thing. So make sure that you check it out. There is a link for it in the show notes. You can go to infjwoman.com. And there's a place to sign up for it there. You can also check out the INFJ Post website, which is infjpost.com as well. I really hope that will check it out and that we'll see you there.
So you just watched that video and I'm sure you enjoyed it. If you want some more amazing information about INFJs, check out these videos right now. I'll see you there.